I know we were both very, very much looking forward to this.
Oh, this beyond. This was like knowing Christmas was on its way for me, and just eagerly anticipating, its debut. Haven't been this excited for something wrestling related in quite a while.
And originally I said I wanted to review the documentary. Here's my review. The first 2/3 of it are absolutely awesome. The last third of it is very, very hard to watch, but equally as awesome. It was a great show. Go watch it. That's my review.
You're watching it. I teared up quite a bit. As I mentioned earlier in the show,
That
Ric
last
Flair,
third was rough, man.
What was really cool about it, going back, this man right here is the reason that I spell my name the way I do. That I've left the K off my name when others in my family have used that. I go with the RIC simply because of the Nature Boy Ric Flair and what he meant to me as a young fan. I could always tell the difference between the WWE, WWF cartoon product and the real wrestling. The men who were out there doing that you saw in NWA, WCW. And there was something about Ric Flair that caught my eye. Just even as a young kid, I always kind of like to have the nicer stuff and kind of be the leader of the pack. And it was because I would see him doing this thing. Even with my group of friends, I always try to stand out and be the leader of our horseman crew. And he's always been that steady all the way through. And watching this, the stories really weren't things that any of us fans already didn't know, that we hadn't heard. But to see them come alive through, especially Flair's perspective, but those that were really there with him and close to him, those that he had scorned along that way as well.
Was there anything in the documentary that you learned that you didn't already know before?
Not particularly about his life. Towards the end, probably I didn't understand how much it meant to Charlotte in crafting her direction and changing her life. A lot of what I took from it, yes, I teared up quite a bit, but on the other side of that, there was a lot of great times you could just sit back and chuckle and appreciate a good laugh in there. A lot of personal things that demons that people individually deal with, that they have a hard time sometimes giving up that party, realizing that there are other responsibilities out there that you need to grow up at times. And sometimes it's for individuals, and I guess it's becoming pretty clear that I am one of those, that it's hard to look at those things sometimes and realize that you have to change to move forward.
I thought one of the better people that they sat down and interviewed for the documentary was Shawn Michaels' contributions. Shawn didn't pull any punches, man.
I was going to say Shawn and Hunter.
Yeah, both of them.
They're one line. Kind of going back, did you learn anything there? I think from those two, yes. You really could sense, it wasn't always what we see buddy sugarcoat it with them. It was a lot of, sure, they are great friends and mentors, but there was a lot of tough love and a lot of hard exchanges there.
It was real friendship, man. Your real friends will stab you in the front.
And and Hunter, I can't remember the exact line. He pretty much came out and said, Rick will lie to you. He'll tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, basically
Even
said he's a compulsive liar.
Yeah.
I never knew.
And I think the extent of that, is that not only was Flair lying to those closest to him,
but more so to himself.
And I think that became quite clear when they got to, the part about Reed.
Yeah, I never realized Reed was quite as far into his pro wrestling training as he was. That he was that close. That was really the only thing that I really took away from it. I was like, oh, wow.
I knew that he had done some, I guess I have to go back and say, I did learn some things here, but Like I didn't know he was really that close to WWE.
Yeah, I
And
knew
he
about
just
his amateur background, but I didn't realize he was that far into his pro wrestling.
I remembered the stuff with Japan. I remembered all that with the ties they had there. But with him just not being able to get over that hump with WWE because he just couldn't pass the test.
Fantastic documentary. Fantastic. I thought it was really well done. And it didn't frame WWE in a positive light. It didn't necessarily always frame Rick in a positive light. You know, even at the end, when they ask Rick, how do you want to be remembered? He says, you know, I wasn't a great father. I wasn't a great husband. So I guess I'll have to settle with being the best professional wrestler of all time. And he just has that nature boy smile on him. And I thought Sean really said something when he said, I'm not sure that Rick has ever really taken the time to know who Richard Fleur is. That really hit me. That really hit me.
What's really cool about how impactful a statement like that is in saying that you realize everything that Shawn Michaels is saying isn't exactly just about Ric Flair. It was about Shawn Michaels having to figure out who Michael, what's his Hickenbottom?
Yep.
Having to figure out who his real self was.
Find his smile. It's an interesting case in psychology, man. I think that's probably the thing that's really always drawn me to the business. It's an interesting case of psychology study. So when I went to the NXT show here a couple